Arthur emerged from the gloom of the woods. Usually he would wait by the hollow tree, but here he was, blinking in the sun like a woodland creature, unused to light. From her vantage point on the slight slope down from the farmhouse, she could see him clearly, his form cut out by the cool sun and looking away from her towards the sea. Warmth trickled into her blood at the familiar sight of him. And yet, as she watched him, his mouth looked set, hard and fixed. He didn't look the same. Was it some new hardness that had been instilled in him by national service? She remembered her letters, or the lack of them. She had no good excuse, except that when she had lifted her pen to write, she didn't have the words to describe her motherless state. And with his absence, she'd begun to wonder what they were to each other. Arthur was all tied up with her childhood, and now that world had been shattered. He might be tired of her now. He might have met a girl. Her whole body withdrew, and the heat evaporated from her skin. She felt like turning, running back and carrying on running as far away as she could. But she was being a coward. It must be something in her, some coldness or distance. Since the funeral, she'd hardly seen him. In her grief, she hadn't noticed, but now it felt as if he was no longer part of the family. She bit her thumbnail. It was Arthur, her beloved Arthur. She'd known him since he was a skinny 8-year-old evacuee, brought home by her mother. Still, she didn't move. Then there was a whisper in the barley, a snap, a vibration in the sheaves, a ferret or a fox, and he looked up and saw her. Quickly, she began to walk towards him, closing the gap across the last field. He stood still, his hand shielding his eyes. As she reached him, she took in his wavy brown hair that wouldn't lie flat, the dark eyes and the thick eyebrows she liked to touch. The months apart vibrated between them. She said, "There's something different about you, but I can't think what it is," and reached up and ruffled his hair. It wasn't what she'd planned to say to him. He frowned. "You too," he said, and took her hand. In the woods, something sour mingled with the sweet pine sap, making the air smell sickly. An animal rustled in the ferns underfoot and scooted off. A light breeze shook the pine needles, and she shivered. They found their place by the hollowed-out tree. As they talked, she took out the thermos she'd brought and poured the tea, spilling it over his Mac, though he didn't seem to mind. They ate some raisin cake washed down with weak tea. "I brought beer," he said, and poured some into their empty teacups. Dozy and laughing, they lay on their backs. Above them, the tops of the trees swayed in the breeze. He picked up her hand and kissed it. She wriggled and laughed, but didn't pull away. Their faces were close now. He leaned over her and kissed her mouth, biting at the bottom lip. She felt his tongue probing between her teeth and allowed him to prise them open. "I've missed you," he said, and she murmured, unable to speak. His breath was malty and sweet with beer and cake. His hand crept down her dress to her legs, and her skin rippled under his fingers. But it was too soon. She withdrew, pulled her mouth from his. Her heart beat hard in her chest. Aware of him watching her, she clambered on top of him like she used to do when they were children, tickling him and pinning him down. But he took her wrists and looked up at her without laughing, and she climbed off, confused. She yawned and stretched and moved an inch or two away from him on the coat. "Come on then, spill the beans. I've been dying to hear what you've been up to. Your letters say absolutely nothing. It's been dull as ditch water round here. No doubt Peter will bore you rigid about the farm. He's desperate for Father to get a new-fangled milking parlour and stop doing any by hand so we can sell more to the dairy, but Father doesn't want to. Says we can't afford it. Peter doesn't understand why not. They talk about money all the time, back and forth, back and forth. It's